Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you to today's live event, The Era of AI-Driven Investment Decisions, Leveraging Analytical and Generative AI to Unlock Your Hidden Alpha, brought to you by M.M. I'm Andrea Sala, and today I'll be your moderator. So today we're here because in the dynamic world of investments, the excitement surrounding generative and analytical AI is undeniable. Yet it's time to move beyond that excitement and see the actual tangible benefits that these two technologies can bring to the investment process. Now, today we're going to ask ourselves, how can these technologies work together in order to help these investment decision makers confidently navigate intricate financial markets and make well-informed investment decisions? Now, today, throughout this event, we will delve into the different ways in which these two technologies can work together to provide substantial value, and we will even see how investment decision makers can combine their own inputs with AI's inputs to deliver value to their clients. Now, in the world of investments, maintaining a competitive edge is paramount. And harnessing the power of analytical and generative AI in the investment process can really help decision makers position themselves to gain a significant advantage in the investment landscape that is definitely constantly evolving. And for the past 7 years, M.M. has been doing this. M.M. has been at the forefront of AI development for investments. And drawing from that experience, we have identified a clear and definitive path for successful AI implementation within the investment process. Now, as part of that dedication to leading this transition, we usually engage in discussions or events like this one to illustrate the processes, the best practices, and the opportunities that AI can really provide in the investment process. Now, as I previously mentioned, for the past 7 years, M.M. has been doing this. We are a fintech company. We develop AI specifically to build reliable portfolios. Today, we are over 110 professionals. This is including the M.M. Lab, which is our international network of universities and academic thought leaders, as well as our, also including the 60 physicists, engineers, and investment professionals of our team. Our team members are spread out throughout our 3 offices, being in London, Milan, and New York, who work every single day on our solution, which is Sphere, which is the AI platform that supports the investment process. Today, Sphere can create, optimize, and future-proof your portfolios. Today, we're going to go more in depth regarding Sphere, but I'm quickly going to present to you a little bit what it can do, amongst which, well, it can combine your investment views with AI's forward-looking inputs. It can anticipate and see how your portfolio would perform under different scenarios. And, well, it can enhance your investment process with these AI inputs. Now, today we have a great agenda. We're going to cover a wide array of topics, including why we use AI today, M.M's AI methodology, how AI can empower decision-making with AI, and remember to stick around since there are going to be live platform demonstrations for some of these topics. We're going to talk about how AI can be tailored for any investment process and how it can be used to enhance AI explainability. Now, as I previously mentioned, we've been doing this for the past 7 years, trying to help institutional investors integrate AI to achieve its full potential and benefit greatly from it. However, there are several stages in order to achieve this AI maturity, which I would like to briefly present to you before kicking off the conversation. Now, the first stage of AI maturity is that we have the base research. As you can see on the screen, we have the benefit and time. At the beginning, the benefit can't really be seen. You see, it's more of a theoretical potential that AI has. It's not until that we reach stage 2, in which we have a turning point, that AI can see, applications and practical benefits that can be leveraged for certain use cases. Now, if we hop on to stage 3, AI can really be leveraged for some custom applications, so several use cases, but it is not really integrated yet. it is until the fourth stage of AI maturity that we see AI's full potential. It is the most important stage as we see that the benefit that AI can provide grows exponentially. So we have from the base research, and we have this theoretical potential, the turning point of applied research to the custom applications, and finally a successful integration. Now, the industry today stands in between custom applications and, that effective integration. We have the industry leaders who are already integrating this technology, greatly benefiting from it to its full potential. But we also have the industry laggards who are still, using AI for some of those custom applications, but are not really integrated it fully yet. That's why here today, we're going to try and address all of those concerns and questions you may have in order to be an AI maturity leader. So in order to do that, today we have a great lineup of speakers, amongst which, first of all, we have Michele Zoccali, who is the head of mission control at M.M. He's going to be providing, more of that technical point of view when it comes to AI and investments. We also have Joana from our client solutions manager, who works really closely with our clients and can provide, that perspective on how we can really integrate AI into the investment process, and even if each process is different, can really be tailored for that. And finally, we have Tarek Moursi, who is our business development manager, and is going to give us more of an industry perspective of how AI can really be leveraged for the investment process.
Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you all for being here today. So I would really like to, well, first of all, thank you all. And I think we can hop onto this conversation. And in order to begin today's live event, I believe we should answer first the basic question as everyone here today might ask themselves, which is, well, what does it mean to have an investment process enhanced by AI? So Tarek, you work, with numerous of our clients and have more of that industry perspective. What does it mean to have an investment process enhanced by this technology? And how can AI integration really help financial institutions unlock new opportunities?
Hi, Andrea. Thanks for the question. I think this is a great place to start our discussion today. I think for me, having an investment process enhanced by AI means having a more robust, resilient, and a better informed process, and a more balanced approach to managing your portfolio. Ultimately, what it really looks to do is provide unbiased, data-driven angle to that process. We talk a lot about AI being a tool, and it is exactly that. AI is an extremely powerful tool that can significantly augment an existing decision-making process. The markets are more complex than they've ever been, and essentially what we're looking to do here is provide a different perspective and diversify your approaches to the investment process. And really what the outcome that we're looking for here is a more balanced investment process. The AI, it's adaptable to different stages of the investment process. And we look at this from a asset allocation process through to scenario analysis and also portfolio construction and optimization. A large benefit of the AI is its speed in decision making, and also in its ability to cut down the lag in sort of understanding information and then actually acting on those decisions. On the sort of second part of that question around where we can sort of address organic growth, I think ultimately by incorporating AI into an investment process, you can really start to differentiate yourself in what's an incredibly competitive landscape. We need to look at this technology as enhancing an existing process, adding an extra layer of sophistication and ultimately accuracy. When we sort of talk about AI, it's often quite new in the context of investment, but AI is something that's sort of featured in most of our lives for quite some time now, and it's redefined numerous industries from aviation through to medicine. Ultimately, what it does is it improves our ability process data efficiently and to handle and adapt to real world complexities. If you imagine AI acting like a human, but at a significantly faster pace and with much more reliability, ultimately it allows investors, and bringing it back to the context of investment, it really allows investors to make more informed decisions. But it's not just the reliability and the speed of which we can make predictions. It's also the ability to then act on those predictions that the AI ultimately makes. I think in conclusion, and sort of wrapping up on this question, for me, an investment process that's enhanced by AI brings an advanced and data-driven approach to the table. It equips investors with an incredibly powerful tool, and it allows them to make better decisions in adapting conditions. Ultimately, the aim here is to achieve a more balanced and resilient portfolio. With the clients that we worked with and the clients that I've personally worked with, we've really seen AI as a game changer in the world of investments. And it ultimately allows you to stay competitive in the market and seize new opportunities.
Thank you, Tarek, for really showing how AI can work through all of that complexity to really deliver value and sort of complement that human aspect.
Exactly.
Now, how about we dive in more into Sphere instead of AI in general? And for that, I would like to call on Michele. So Michele, could you maybe shed some light on how does Sphere's AI methodology distinguish itself from more, let's say, traditional approaches? And how do you ensure that the model's accuracy and reliability stays in its forecasts?
Right. Thanks for the question. No, I also think it's really important to clarify from the get-go how what we do is different from what's out there. And traditionally, AI is often associated and has been associated definitely in the more popularized version of it with a certain type of model, a certain type of ability of prediction, such as, for example, labeling whether an image is a cat or a dog, or even predicting what the next most probable word would be in a text, in a language, which is, all the hype at the moment, which are obviously incredibly difficult tasks to master. But they have a very crucial difference with what we are trying to do here, which is they deal with an inherently very static environment. What I mean by that is, imagine the features which help you discriminate between a cat or a dog will not likely change over time. And at the same time, the characteristics and even the grammar rules which make up a language, they also don't change over time, or they do so at a very slow pace, which makes predicting these sort of things hard, but ultimately quite possible. What MDOTM'S AI, so the engine behind Asphere, is more like is sort of, I like to sort of compare it with like predicting the weather, which is a famously hard thing to do, or maybe forecasting electricity consumption, right, which is also a very actual problem that people are trying to solve. What these things have in common is that they are trying to deal with and navigate a very complex environment, very complex, evolving, non-linear environment in which you may know the rules, but these rules and the components often interact in unexpected ways, even if you know what the rules are. So in this environment, it's difficult to navigate, but it's nonetheless possible to find some slow frequency, long-standing patterns and relations between various components, which ultimately is what Sphere aims to find and exploit. In fact, what Sphere does is even more than that. It's actually, you should think of it more like a brain which first learns to predict the weather and then it sort of automatically controls your house's heating and lighting systems in response to that, right? It goes beyond a standard predictive engine, and it's actually trying to do both a predictive component and the ability of making optimal decisions based on those predictions, which is the hard part about it. And I think relating to the second part of your question, perhaps, which was more about how do we ensure accuracy and reliability, right? Here, I think it's really crucial to understand what our approach is. It's to do with, I would divide it in three main parts, right? So first of all, it's about the quality of the data, which are carefully selected, first of all, and inserted in a structure which is not only a modular structure, but accounts for sort of the expected value that you expect to gain out of that specific data and that specific piece of information. And that is important because it's especially effective in filtering out noise in predictions. Secondly, it's about testing. It's about testing and ensuring that the model has absolutely learned something valuable, useful, has learned to filter out the noise. And we do this, obviously, in a model building phase and so on. But finally, there's a component which is crucial, which is about detecting and being careful about something called model drifting, right? Any AI model is subject ultimately to failure by something called drifting, which means the situation that it's trying to navigate can evolve in a way that has never happened in the past. And data-driven models do not have out of the box a way to deal with this. There are ways to deal with these kind of situations. And of course, that's exactly what we build in the engine. And it is a careful balance between the continuous learning nature of Sphere, but also continuous testing and human supervision as well, which, it goes through supervising the final decisions of the model, in this case, investment decisions, but also the quality of input data, which is, as you know, garbage in, garbage out. It's always about making sure those data are carefully selected and they are not corrupted in any way, and also about the quality of the predictions that the models do.
Thank you, Michele. That was a really insightful answer on really how Sphere AI can distinguish itself from other types of AI models, as it can really adapt to ongoing changes. Now, just a quick follow-up question so we can really wrap up, that value add that Sphere has in regards to other models. What would you say is that value add with respect to more traditional approaches? Could you maybe shed some light on how it can really change, it can really adapt to those changes in its surrounding conditions?
For sure. So I feel maybe there is a bit of a early distinction to be made here. You talk about traditional methods here. Really, we need to talk about the non-data-driven approaches and early days data-driven solutions, which may rely on obviously technology and statistics, but are not fully AI or intelligent decision-making systems. Obviously, the advantage and the importance of complementing such a non-data-driven approach with a solution such as Sphere is simple in financial markets, right? The dynamics of financial markets, as well as the pace, as Tarek was mentioning, they now absolutely depend on the fact and are driven by data-driven approaches, algorithms that market players employ and deploy to act on the markets. The main advantage over other data-driven solutions really lies in this bivalent nature of Sphere, which I was mentioning earlier. It's not just about making predictions, and it's not just about making a portfolio. It's about both elements at the same time and the interactions between them. It's about having a side which makes good predictions on various relevant information, and an intelligence part, which is sort of like acting like an experienced guy, an experienced person, which makes decisions in a complex world which they have learned to know. So really, I would say it's the care we put in combining in concert these three components, which really is bringing out an extra value added here.
Thank you, Michele. Yeah, it's definitely like this, as you say, an extra like experienced person that can complement the investment process. And well, how about that? How it can complement and really combine your views. So maybe we can even see that live. So maybe for this upcoming question, we're going to have Joana, who, well, is an expert at, using Sphere and works closely with our clients. So Joana, Sphere allows portfolio managers to combine their own market views with its forward-looking forecasts. How does this feature enhance the decision-making process? And could you maybe provide an example of where this balance between human insights and AI led to better investment outcomes?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. I think it would be interesting to jump into Sphere straight away so that we can see also how this works live. So I'll just share my screen and we can move directly to the Portfolio Studio, where we will have the chance to see exactly how the two inputs can be combined to create this output that can either be an output totally based on AI, because it's true that Sphere allows users to combine their views with Sphere's estimates of what is expected as a market view for a specific selected horizon. But it's also true that 100% AI views are always available to the users. So in practice, what does this mean? Is that on the Portfolio Studio section, the most interactive one, where we can go through the optimization of portfolios, users have the possibility to create specific market views. They can do it for different horizons. Currently, we have horizons of 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. And the first input that, or the first output in this case that the users will see are Sphere's views. So we have the probabilities for the risk regimes that are estimated by Sphere's models, as well as estimates on expected returns and expected volatilities across the different asset classes. However, as you said, and as following up also on what Michele previously said, there is the possibility that some users might have or might want to express a certain market view that is not necessarily aligned to what Sphere is seeing today. So what can be done in this case is that the user can adapt and align the market view to their own expectations. Giving an example and how we see this feature on Sphere being used is the fact that maybe there is an overall view, an overall forward-looking idea on what to expect on our horizon or for our horizon in what comes to market regimes, but maybe estimates on expected returns and expected volatilities are a bit more difficult to accurately calculate. And using Sphere's methodology, so using everything that we touched upon previous with Michele and that we know that give us an output that is accurate and it's robust and it's very easy to see here on Sphere, users can express their own market view and then rely on Sphere to, as we saw in the video, do the heavy lifting. So give us the estimates on expected returns and expected volatilities calculated by the AI that are estimated taking as the referring point the market regimes that have been defined. However, if there are estimates that are calculated directly by the users and that they would like to input here, this is also a part that allows users to customize it. So basically, we have a great amount of flexibility here because we can go with the AI views. We can do a blend of the two inputs, so a more macro idea on the risk regimes, and then use the accuracy and robustness of the AI estimates to construct the portfolio, or even do the input of the regimes, the estimates, and eventually leave it to AI to consider all these inputs and still produce and give as an output an optimal portfolio that takes in consideration all these inputs.
Thank you, Joana, for really showing, how Sphere, well, you can combine your own market views. You don't necessarily have to always follow, AI's input. You can even combine it with your own input. And it really gives that tailored aspect to the investment process. And since everyone has their own views, everyone has their own processes. And it really shows that value add of that customization at scale that Sphere can offer. With this upcoming question, and keep on talking, about Sphere and how does it have these market views, I would like to ask, Michele again, since, he can provide, that more of a technical point of view. So Michele, with the daily influx of new data, how does Sphere manage to balance between responsiveness to current market conditions and consistency in long-term investment strategies?
That's a great question, and it's a great question because we believe, first of all, that really one of the value propositions that Sphere is currently offering our clients is the opportunity to receive a full-fledged market analysis, together with the consequences and influences that changing market views have on a final portfolio in just a few minutes, and especially updating every day. We are already seeing how this technology is helping our clients to drastically reduce decision-making lags, which are obviously essential in this sort of game, but which are also bound to exist when every step or most step of the ways are carried out in a non-automated or non-fully automated fashion. So every day, the engine powering Sphere reassesses its predictions and its investment decisions based on the influx of, as you said, new, fresh data from the markets or from wherever it may be. And by design, Sphere really tries to strike the right balance between, as you said, reactiveness and self-consistency, right? It's not going to be necessarily useful to change we know it's not useful to change drastically day on day, week on week. How does it do this? Well, one of the ways in which it does it, one of the crucial, perhaps the most crucial ways, is through the predictions of what we call the hidden Markov model module of Sphere, which is responsible for predicting a forward-looking estimate of the market regime, right? Which inherently, and this is an important component of it, which inherently has built inside it an idea of persistence. It wouldn't make sense to have a prediction of a market regime which also changes every day. And you can imagine, to understand how this works and how this helps Sphere makes optimal investment decisions, you can imagine it provides, generally speaking, a space or bounds within which it makes sense for Sphere to move and to, and how to suggest potential investment opportunities, which would make sense, in time. And it's really what Joana just showed us, the market view which you can input, which Sphere already gives you by default, the most, updated every day again, so the most adequate for today's environment, but which you can also tilt based on your own beliefs and whether you want to challenge the technology a bit. And then that's exactly what I'm talking about. Market regimes, probabilities, and forward-looking predictions which help shape and bound the decisions. Of course, one must ask, what would happen in case of a sudden shock, right? If I'm so bound, can I somehow correct in time? Can I react in time? And well, absolutely you can. And obviously it will be tailored to one's investment horizon and investment opportunities. But broadly speaking, also, again, for our audience to understand, the way this works inside Sphere is that sudden shocks and new data come in and tilt Sphere's decisions, first within the bounds that I said, so making maybe more extreme decisions within that space and exploring the boundaries of the space. And eventually, if the data are convincing enough for Sphere to change idea and maybe convince herself that we are entering a new market regime, or that the shock was powerful enough to demand a response, well, in that case, one would see really big movements on regime changes and consequently also investment decisions.
Thank you, Michele. Now we can really see that, well, Sphere is definitely built to have that balance, like having that reactivity, but that also strategy in long-term investments. Now, I would like to go back to that topic of customization with Joana. So we can show a little bit more, even more how Sphere can really be personalized for every investment process. So Joana, how can Sphere ensure a personalized approach for each client, especially when taking into account individual investment objectives or constraints?
Okay, perfect. I will go back to Sphere because I think the best way to actually show it or explain it is directly using the platform. So previously we saw the possibility of blending market views using the AI customization on one of the tabs that we have available on Portfolio Studio. I think that the main or the two main characteristics we can name for this section of Portfolio Studio is actually customization and flexibility, because the way it was constructed was really thinking about the different possible investment processes that can be out there and how we can actually respond to the needs that every user could have according to the specific objectives and targets that it should achieve. So just to give you an idea of how we did that, apart from the market views, we have the possibility of creating our own investable universes with Sphere, which can start either from an already selected list of eligible instruments that can be part of the investable universe. We can have as many as we want according to the investment strategies of our portfolios. The references portfolios, which can be, for example, target allocations, model portfolios, according to the investment process, we can put here every portfolio that should guide our optimization, that should serve as a reference point to Sphere to know that, okay, you are optimizing my portfolio. Maybe I'm taking some tactical decisions, but please make sure to know that this is my strategic thinking and that this is the positioning that I'm aiming for or to which I would like to respect a specific tracking error. So putting all these different inputs together, then we can move to the Portfolio Studio and have a deeper level of customization during the optimization process. I'm just going to show you maybe with the portfolio that I already have here, if we would like to optimize it, what are the different choices, the different steps that we can go through and that we can choose to add or not, because it's up to the user to add specific constraints, add specific objectives and targets, or if these that do not exist because they are still not part of the process, they're not mandatory. The only thing in this case during optimization that is strictly mandatory for Sphere is at least the investable universe, because we would need to know, it would need to know exactly from which basket or which instruments it would be able to manage during the optimization. So making it as brief as possible, but showing as much as I can. Going through these steps of the optimization, we see that the first thing Sphere asks us is the investable universe. So we can have all our investable universe, choose the one that we are interested in using, load it, and move to the next step. On the next step, we have the possibility of assigning asset allocation constraints. Just to give you an example of the options that we have, we would be able to say, for example, my equity asset class needs to stay between 10 and 30% of my portfolio. Or we can even say just minimum, just the maximum, equal to or exclude. And this can be done for the asset allocation constraints. This can be done for the instrument constraints, which can have just an instrument, a specific instrument we need to exclude, or even a group of instruments, and also the tag constraints that, as you can see here, it allows us to control specific text tags that we can assign to our instruments and control characteristics that maybe are not necessarily connected with the asset class of these instruments, but that express, for example, a set of preferred funds on my universe that I would like to include from now on. I will just save this step and move to the next one to show it to you. We have risk constraints as well, VAR, volatility, we can choose one of those. The portfolio strategy, where we can choose the tracking error, as I was saying. So we could get a reference portfolio from the tab that we were seeing previously and say to Sphere, look, you need to respect a limit of tracking error versus this portfolio during the optimization, turnover, and other options. And finally, the market view. So we need to tell Sphere which is the horizon that we would like to rebalance this portfolio and which is the view that we would like to use. Again, here is the step where we can either choose Sphere's views, choose one of the views that we have previously saved, as we saw on the other tab, or even at this step, we can still customize it and adapt to what we were saying.
Thank you, Joana, for showing us, well, really how Sphere can be customized or personalized for any investment approach. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to quickly remind everyone that this session is being recorded, and if you register to today's live event, you are going to receive a recording. And in case you want to see more of the platform of Sphere and, well, how it can tremendously benefit your investment process, or you're simply curious to learn more about it, well, you can book a customized demo at www.m.m.ai, as you can see on the top right of the screen. And if you have any more questions, well, you can head up to the website, and there's an array of official documents which you can download in order to learn more about our methodology, about M.M in general, Sphere, etc. So head on over if you have any questions. Now, continuing back to our conversation, well, genuinely, I think that our viewers are wondering, well, how they can leverage this technology on their own. So I'm going to go back to Tarek, that he's going to provide us, with that industry insight. And well, Tarek, in order to answer this question that our viewers may have, well, how they can begin using this technology, how can investment managers effectively integrate AI and machine learning models into their existing investment processes, but without creating too much disruption?
Yeah, of course. I think I'd like to preface this question just by mentioning that Sphere has been built with clients in mind, and we're getting artificial intelligence into as many investment professionals' hands as possible. So from an integration perspective, it's actually not too disruptive at all. It's a pretty easy integration process. I think what I'd like to focus on today is essentially any disruption in integrating into pre-existing processes. And I think navigating the integration of AI into existing processes is a delicate balance, but it can be done without creating too much internal disruption. I think, first of all, we have to address the fact that change is always met with resistance. In my experience, and I think as an organization's experience, we found that one of the best ways to overcome this is to have an internal champion who really drives that change. And I think anyone can be that internal champion. They really tend to advocate for the integration of AI and ease the transition. They tend to ensure that multiple teams embrace these technologies, because a lot of what we do does require sort of cross-functional and cross-team discussions. And we find that their influence can be instrumental in building an acceptance amongst organizations. I think it's also important, Andrea touched on this towards the end of the last question, that the AI is here to adapt to your processes and not the other way around. So it's all about really us adapting and enhancing your existing processes. We've found success really happens when you find the point of least resistance as a crucial point to start. So finding an area where we can seamlessly integrate into an existing workflow, build and build on that trust. But what we've also found is that once we do get the momentum, it's really important to capitalize on it and move fast. What we do is all centered around enhancing what you already have. We're not looking to rip up and start from scratch. If you think of this as sort of the emergence of man and machine and us working together to amplify results, I think something that's really, really crucial in this phase, and we've talked about the different phases of AI adoption and the different phases of maturity. It's really important to identify what capabilities you have internally and what requires external expertise. Developing AI, the actual development of the AI, and for investments is incredibly complex. And smart internal teams are really valuable, but finding that right partner allows you to tap into a lot of specialized knowledge and resources. When approaching the transformation, it's really, really important to have the right mentality. And you'll hear me talk about that a lot today, the mentality in approaching artificial intelligence as part of your processes. We really always need to remember that the AI is here to empower us, not to replace us. I guess to summarize this question, integrating AI into your investment processes can be smooth. It doesn't need to be disruptive at all. We really need that internal champion, and any of you guys can be that. We need to find that initial point of least resistance and really capitalize on any of the small wins that we have initially. And we need to ensure that AI adapts to your workflow. We need to emphasize that AI is an enhancer. It's disruptive technology, but it's not disruptive internally. And we need to be open to a combination of internal and external resources to make this transition successful. We found in our experience that ultimately the right mindset and approach, you can really effectively harness the power of what it is that we do with little to no disruption.
Thank you, Tarek. I remind everyone that all the points highlighted by Tarek can also be found on our website, where we have the official guide to AI adoption that you can download. But Tarek basically summarized it in a very well way. Yeah, you have to have that right mentality, and always remember that AI has to adapt to you and not the other way around, as we see with Joana, and basically how Sphere can really be tailored for any investment process. Now, going back to Joana, and also going back to the topic that was briefly mentioned at the beginning, which is regarding generative and analytical AI and how they can work together to really add value to the investment process. I would like to dive into that topic along with Joana and show how these two technologies are present in Sphere and can really provide a unique feature that she's going to be showing us today. So Joana, are there any generative AI features in Sphere that allow clients to better understand the reasoning behind decisions, or maybe understand the implications of market changes on their portfolio?
Yes, okay. Great question, I have to say. And it's really something that is very important on Sphere, also because it brings a lot of clarity and explainability to the table. I'm going to show again, and I would like to touch on three different points here during this answer. The first one is yes, definitely there are ways of leveraging the generative AI, and we do it on every single portfolio. Here we are focusing on the portfolio part. We do it also on the other sections. On the portfolio part, of course, they are much tailored to the portfolio itself, to what is necessary for the portfolio manager to understand exactly what is the profile of this portfolio, the current exposures, the current risk factors that can impact it, how performance is going, how volatility is going. So have a bit of an idea of the overall profile of this portfolio. Then during the optimization and assuming we have optimized a specific portfolio with Sphere, we have a proposal that Sphere suggests us a new portfolio with a different composition. And again, we have a descriptive summary of all the changes that are being suggested and why these are being suggested. So we have all the analytical part and all the widgets that you are currently seeing here. We have still all that for the user to have all the data that is necessary to assess decisions, but there is also always a descriptive information that tries to go a bit more in detail and give a bit more of a summary of what exactly is happening, and in the end, connecting all these dots. If we go a bit back to what we saw on the customization and flexibility part, this is really very important because, of course, we can set all those things, but in the end, what happens is that instantly we can see how all those things, all the constraints, objectives, targets, market views that we have, specific universes, how they all come together to give us an output, how this output is constructed in the end, and having an explanation on the reason why the output is like it is. On the reason why, we have recently done another step forward on the explainability, the clarity on what sometimes might not be super obvious for the users that are not so familiar with AI, which is our Ask Sphere AI functionality. Is a functionality that allows us to interact and do questions directly to Sphere's intelligence. So to show you how it works, I'm just going to pick, for example, from the rebalancing that I made. I can see the Sphere is suggesting me to add a specific instrument to my portfolio. Let's try to understand why. Why is this happening? I will click Ask Sphere, and let's ask him a question. We have different questions. We can compare portfolios. It's useful because we can see how maybe two portfolios that are evolving based on different market views are performing differently or have different risk profiles. We can have a better understanding of the asset classes that represent the major risk on our portfolio, which are performing better than others. And a very interesting thing that we can also do is ask Sphere, why did it decide to suggest me to include a specific instrument in my portfolio? So let's try this one and see what Sphere has to tell me. I will just input my eyes in. Why do I have this instrument on my portfolio? And Sphere will start looking to all the steps of the decision making and trying to give me an explanation on why it decided to include this instrument with a specific weight. When the answer comes off, it is a totally descriptive answer that tries to give me of course, a bit more of the information. We can see the bolts where the critical information is highlighted, but we can see, for example, that this decision is primarily driven by the instrument risk management contribution, as it effectively mitigates the overall portfolio risk due to its low correlation with other portfolio instruments. Then we can also see the selection effect regarding the allocation effect. And in the conclusion, we have arrived to the decision of adding this instrument on at 11.06% due to its risk management capabilities, high expected efficiency, and exposure to attractive risk premium. So we not only have Sphere providing us with a suggestion of insert this on your portfolio or remove it, but we also accompany all these suggestions with a comprehensive explanation on what has driven Sphere to take this decision. This would be the two major groups of the generative AI functionalities we currently have on Sphere. So the commentaries and the Ask Sphere AI, the more interactive one that we can actually make questions. The last thing I would like to touch on is the notification system that we have on Sphere, not necessarily connected to the generative AI features, but it's something very important because it connects with something, Andrea, that you said, which is the possibility to keep track of any impacts that specific dynamics or specific changes in the market can have in our portfolios. So this alert and notification system allows users to understand if the market views that they are using are very disaligned because there have been some changes recently, and the ones that maybe we used it 1 month ago, we rebalanced it for an horizon of 3 months, but in the meanwhile, something happened. So maybe there would be the case of looking again into my portfolio and understanding if I should rebalance it or not. So if situations like this, if there are dynamics that might have a direct impact on all the constraints that we have set and that should be respected, or on the market view that we have used and conditions have evolved in a different direction, users can actually be notified on Sphere via email, keep track of all of these, and make sure that the reactivity of the models, it's also mirrored on their own reactivity, and that they are aware when things change and when they should intervene.
Thank you, Joana. I see that Asphere AI really adds, that layer of explainability all in one, because you can ask it really anything, and it gives you this personalized input based on your investment, based on your portfolio. It really adds that layer of explainability that is very crucial when it comes to AI and investments. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for displaying that. Now, I think that closing the conversation with this exceptional feature, I would say, is a great point, and also a great point to start our live Q&A session. So everyone, if you have any questions that you might have had throughout today's conversation, remember to drop them down in the comments and we will answer them. Actually, throughout the event, there's people that have already sent in their questions. I see them now in the comments coming in. So I guess it is a good point to kick off this Q&A session. So our first question is for Michele. So Michele, what measures are taken to ensure that the identification of investment opportunities is not influenced by short-term market noise, but rather based on long-term trends and fundamentals?
I see. Thanks for the question. Well, it touches upon, the answer to this question touches upon, I would say, certain things I've mentioned, but it's in the previous answers, but it's really about choices, at least the way we see it, right? Outside of the obvious, using statistics to do things, which are already taking care of a big part of that. But it's about choices and active choices that we have to make when building a product such as this, because it's first of all, it's about the choice of what investment horizon and what investment objective or type of investing we are tailoring our product for. We're not really doing, trading and trying to exploit perhaps that noise which is useful to other players in the market. What we are doing is helping asset managers and players of this kind to really invest for the short to medium to long term. When you make this sort of choice, you can already cut the noise, because you can concentrate on those slow frequency, long-standing patterns which I was mentioning before, and those will already be a nice help for you to cut the noise. Secondly, I would mention the use of data and how you choose data and how you use it. And it's really about not getting as much data as possible and throwing it into a machine. It's about consciously thinking and intelligently thinking about which data you want to use for what. And finally, and this is tied in with how you use the data, is about having a structure which Sphere has, which is modular and really where one part may provide context for another part. And within this context, you can be sure that you will not be, or Sphere's decision will not be phased by, noise in the markets or noise in sentiment across the world and across the information influx that we receive.
Thank you. I guess it really shows how AI, in this specific example, it would be Sphere, strikes out that balance that, it might not be influenced by short-term market noise, but we actually have to ensure that it is for that long term, and it is a concrete decision, basically, that the model has to take. Now, we have another question. This one would be for Tarek. So Tarek, what would you say is the right mentality for a financial institution or institutional investor to approach AI adoption?
Yeah, great. Thanks for the question. This is something that I've mentioned quite a few times today, so it's good to hear that it's been picked up by the audience. I think when we talk about mentality, I think it's crucial that we have an open mind. I think it's also crucial that we're curious and that we're willing to challenge what is an existing status quo. We also need to be constantly questioning things to eke out extra performance, to eke out extra operational performance, to eke out alpha. So I think constantly questioning existing processes and then looking to see where we can add value. I think we need to embrace the idea that AI is not a replacement for our skills, but rather a tool designed to enhance what we do. And I think in that context, the question really shifts from, will AI replace you, to will someone who effectively utilizes AI replace you? And I think this change in perspective is fundamental in developing the right mentality for AI adoption. I think as well as that, AI adoption should be seen as something that's a strategic decision. It's not just a one-off tech decision. You need to understand how AI aligns with an organization's long-term goals. I found that successful AI adoption mentality, it often fosters a culture of collaboration. You have to be open to collaboration and working with partners, essentially. And I think this works both internally and externally. So in partner selection, but also in having internal collaboration. I think that's really encompasses everything that we have to say on this.
Thank you, Tarek. Yes, definitely. They need, that open mind and find that innovator, especially within the organization, in order to approach that AI adoption journey. And well, basically, we have seen throughout today's conversation that AI adoption journey that does not come with as much disruption as one might think, but it comes more as a complement to the existing processes of an organization. Now, this upcoming question would be for Joana. Now, just a quick reminder for everyone before this upcoming question. We are receiving a lot of questions from the public at the moment, and we are mindful of time because we are a bit short, so we won't answer them all. In case you have any other questions, if we don't get to answer them today, remember that you can contact us directly on our website. We are going to leave a couple of information data points that you can reach out to at the end, so don't worry. We will answer all your concerns that you might have throughout this conversation. So back to the conversation for Joana. So Joana, how are clients using Sphere's Gen AI functionalities, so Asphere AI, and how are they using it in their daily processes?
I think actually this has like a double use, let's say. First of all, it helps the user itself to understand better the outputs and actually know better the portfolios, because there's a lot of information on Sphere generated through the generative AI functionalities that allows the portfolio managers, the ones that have to interact with the decisions that are made, to actually understand where are my risks, what are my exposures, what should I be doing, and why should I be doing it. So it's also about learning a bit more with it and trying to have a more comprehensive understanding of the portfolios, of the different risks, of the compositions, of maybe the different instruments that exist on the portfolio, to which Sphere is able to do a look through and understand the actual exposures. So we have the part of the portfolio manager that is able to be a bit more conscious of the portfolio itself. And on the other part, it's an extremely useful tool or an extremely useful output, let's put it like this, to use with clients. Because all of the things we saw briefly on the portfolio details, so the commentaries, the Asphere AI functionality, and all the analytic AI as well, all of that can be easily exported into reports that can be shared directly with the clients, so that they can also have a bit more of a clarity on where their portfolio is standing today, why we are suggesting, we talking about the portfolio managers, why are they suggesting specific changes. And it's also about understanding better what the portfolio managers are doing for them and trusting more. So on both areas, these generative AI functionalities are being used either to support internally or to support relationships externally with the clients. And of course, this brings a bit of a boost to the business part as well, as you can imagine. So they have a lot of advantages, they bring a lot of value into the table. And of course, that by doing that, we see a lot of adoption and a lot of use of these functionalities.
Thank you, Joana. I think it really shows how clients, can leverage Asphere on their everyday, day-to-day processes. And it's definitely like this easier way to comprehend what is going on and all of the processes that are going on a day-to-day basis. We have more questions. Now, this upcoming question is for Tarek. So, Tarek, what happens once I book a demo, and how long does it take to integrate AI into my investment process?
Yep, great question. So typically when you book a demo, we look to get an introductory call in the calendar. Here we walk you through a personalized tour of Sphere, but more importantly, we try and understand more about your organization with a holistic view. it's really important that we understand your processes, your investment process, so that we can start to really tailor at what points we can really add value and as part of the process. To the second part of that question, in terms of integration, we can have clients live in 4 to 6 weeks, typically. That's just because it's how long it takes to fully understand your process and really understand where we can fit in and add significant value.
Thank you, Tarek. Now we have other questions. Let's try, and we're going to try and answer them all, but in case, we didn't get to do it, we are going to follow up with the recording. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in contact with us. Check out our website. Do not worry. So this upcoming question would be for Michele. So Michele, how does AI handle unexpected black swan events differently than more conventional strategies?
I was expecting such a question. Yes. No, of course, it's an extremely crucial question to tackle, and it goes back to the concept of providing context. Once again, we know that it's not possible to predict every possible event, or to predict with 100% accuracy even events that you do expect. Black swan events, of course, are what differentiate them is the magnitude, and not only that, but of course the surprising nature of them. The way the Sphere deals with this rather effectively is it already knows that there is a chance that a black swan event will happen, and that is the reason, exactly the idea behind providing context, which, however, is a probabilistic one. Even in, let's say, the market regimes that Sphere provides, computes and provides, which Joana showed us before, even when Sphere is showing a regime of very low risk, it still assigns a probability of a black swan event happening somewhere along the way. And not only it does that, it already acts on that belief, which means that the allocation, first of all, the predictions about and forecasts about the future will already know that. And secondly, the allocation choices will reflect that in a way which, you can think about it in terms of reducing perhaps the directionality of certain bets, or even through diversification, making sure that even in the event of such a thing happening, you would be protected. Now, of course, not only that, but it is also about the reactiveness with which one is able to learn after something unexpected and surprising has actually occurred. And that is the second, I would say the second pillar of this answer, the answer to this question, which is every day Sphere updates and it learns immediately from what happened. And as I was mentioning in my first answer, if the signal is strong enough, it will react fast. And as we have seen happen already, for example, top of my head, last time it was probably the financial shock back in March. It was something rather unexpected. It's definitely the magnitude of the reaction, and Sphere was already diversified and therefore robust to that sort of drawdown and market reaction, but also it suddenly and quickly adapted to those changes by in a matter of a few days.
Thank you, Michele. Yeah, definitely. We even have seen with Sphere and MDOTM's models how it has adapted to all of this sudden change in events. It's no surprise that AI can definitely withstand such drastic changes. So thank you for providing, that bit of a technical perspective into how it's possible that it does this. Now, this upcoming question, it would be for Joana, which I think is a good question to also wrap up today's conversation. So, Joana, are there any training or onboarding processes in place to help clients use Sphere?
Yes, of course. It's a part of it all, of course, because it's a new tool. It's something that not everyone is super familiar with. So what we try to do from the beginning, and it starts on what Tarek mentioned previously, that is the fact that once we start to get in touch with someone that has interest on our solution, we want to understand also the reality that we have in front of us, so that we can, from the beginning, identify the needs and then help in constructing value around the use case. As we saw today, Sphere can be customized, is super flexible in what can be done with it, and we saw just a bit of what is possible to do. So with the tool that has so many capacities, it's really important that we can do that follow-up of the construction of the use case, be there to support. So yes, of course, there is a team that is dedicated to that, extremely expert on what Sphere can do and how it can do it, so that we can guide the users either on an onboarding phase or throughout the entire usage of Sphere.
Thank you, Joana. It's definitely a great onboarding process for anyone that is interested in incorporating or integrating AI, specifically Sphere, within their investment process. Now, I think this is a good time to stop our conversation today. And well, as we come to the end of this live event, first of all, I would like to thank all of our speakers today. So Michele, Joana, Tarek, so much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And well, thank you for sharing all of your knowledge regarding generative analytical AI within the investment process, and well, all of the different point of views and expertise that you provided. Now, for our viewers, today we've explored how AI, being generative, being analytical, is very practical tool that can really empower investment professionals and add value to their decision making. We even saw some real world examples on how this can be done with Joana, had some technical point of views with Michele, and some industry perspective with Tarek. Now, as we move forward, it's clear that AI-driven investment solutions, well, they're here to stay and are really working side by side these financial institutions in order to empower them. We encourage you to continue your exploration of AI's potential within the investment process. So if you'd like to reach out to M.M, well, we really consider you to check out our website to get in touch with us. We are leaving some contact information at the end, so you can stick around. And we're always here to help you in case you have any further questions regarding the integration of AI into your investment process. Now, thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to continue sharing with you our knowledge on AI and investments. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.